Hey everyone, it's Silas, and this is going to be the patch 9.22 notes rundown. It's not really that impactful of a patch, to be completely honest. It does just look like we're only going to have to wait until preseason, until we actually get something of substance to actually talk about in some of these rundowns. I know that a lot of the most recent ones have been, for the most part, pretty much filled with placebo. However, Senna is inside of this patch, and her kit is, as I put it in the first impressions video, one of the best that I think that League of Legends has ever seen. It's a champion that I'm really excited for, so I hope that the numbers are actually all there for her. I was just going over some of them on stream just a second ago. It does look like she's probably just going to be inside of ADC and support, so she'll be planted in the bottom lane. Who knows, though? Perhaps she'll just be completely gutted by the time point 9.23 or 9.24 end up coming around. So you guys can wait to see the effects there. But anyways, Ashe. W cost increased for no reason whatsoever. Blitzcrank. Q base damage decreased. Because that's important. You know what you're thinking about when you get hit by that Blitzcrank hook inside a bottom lane? I'm sure that you're really thinking about, man, I really, really wish it didn't do 10 damage at rank 1. But I guess at these intervals, like the 20 damage, the 15 damage, that can sort of matter, but who am I kidding? Not really, okay? This isn't doing anything to Blitzcrank. I feel like this is actually just put here to satisfy people. 30 damage being removed off Blitzcrank combo late game. I mean, he's not really... you're dead inside of the pool, regardless, okay? As long as Blitzcrank has teammates. So, I don't know what this is. I guess it's just to appease people that are complaining about Blitzcrank. I personally don't think that there's anything going on with him. Again, what is that Ashe nerf? What? Ivern, bug fixes. These bug fixes went live in 9.21, but we're noting them here for anyone who may have missed them. Ivern now always dashes into melee range of the target. Ivern's still in a really weird spot. I think that in preseason, with the changes that are happening to Gromp and Golems, as well as I believe one of the changes to Shirelia's Reverie and some other stuff, Ivern is actually getting a lot of indirect buffs that can further help him, but also Ivern is a byproduct of the meta to an extent. So without knowing more about what's going on there, it's hard to say what could actually go on. I don't know if ever since becoming ranged he has any sort of viability in either like top, mid, or support or anything, and I think that's obviously just something that would have to be given a lot more consideration if it would even actually be possible. But anyways, Caixa, Q missile damage after first hit decreased. Icathian Rain, 30% to 25%. It's not what's gating, or not gating, it's not what's making Caixa be picked by everyone. It's more so that ADCs are in a really weird spot, and for some reason, a lot of ADCs are forgotten, and when a lot of ADCs are forgotten, and team compositions, especially in competitive, are playing out the way that they are, Caixa, for some reason, is getting a lot more attention than she should, even though she is a really, really good champion. I don't think that she needs a nerf, and also this kind of a nerf doesn't really... It's not impactful. Callisto, W, mark duration and bonus damage on marked targets increased. W, Sentinel, bonus damage on marked targets, 5 to 15% of the targets missing health to 10 to 18% of the targets missing health. So it is up a pretty big amount at rank 1. You now get the old rank 3 at rank 1. Mark duration, 3 seconds to 4 seconds, so that's up as well. I think that Callisto is actually already viable. She was very popular early on in the year, especially with the holy trinity of supports that she was typically accompanied with, which was... Tom Kench, Galio, and Thresh were basically her bread and butter, and then you would get some of the other supports like Alistar and Braum in there as well. But I do think that Callisto is actually situationally okay. I don't think that she's a champion that necessarily should be able to go into everything, and she's also a very committed champion to her theme, which is to be oppressive, to be aggressive, and to accelerate, and... thematically, it would make sense for her to be contained in a balanced sense. So anyways, Kale, Q base damage decreased, W cost decreased, Radiant Blast down by 10 base damage at the early ranks. Well, actually, 15 at rank 2, and then 20 at rank 3, which is really big. These are actually pretty sizable Kale nerfs, but the thing is that Kale's not really winning lane, or she's not intending to win the lane. If Kale's winning lane against you, she's outplaying you. This is just going to make it even harder for the Kales that were already actually capable of winning lane and outplaying their opponent. And so it just reduces the ability to do that. Kale's still going to be picked for the reasons that you are picking Kale, because this doesn't impact her nearly enough. W Celestial Blessing, however, costs 60 to 100 mana, up to 70 to 110 mana. So she'll have some issues inside of lane. She's definitely probably going to miss out on one extra Celestial Blessing throughout the first recall phase of her laning phase, at least at high MMR or something. I think that's the way that this sort of a nerf on her W should be perceived. It's not impactful enough to do anything to her mid game, and obviously not her late game, so that's completely fine. Mauled Fight, our AP ratio decreased. So I thought that maybe like the first thing that would end up happening would actually be some sort of a change to Annie, but instead, our mark on the patch notes comes in the form of AP Malphite. This is a champion that it picked up a little bit of traction in some of, I believe, the national leagues, but obviously it's really strong in solo queue. It's very good at single-handedly being able to carry. It's able to be played mid-top, support, and jungle, and so they've reduced the AP ratio on his ultimate from 1 to 1 to 0.8 now. I don't think that it guts AP Malphite by any means, especially because he's overkilling most of the targets anyway, but it does make some of his engages obviously feel a bit weaker, and if you do get a multi-man knock-up, then you are missing several hundred damage, so obviously that is something that will feel quite bad. But anyways, Nautilus, our primary target, base damage decreased, depth charge 200 to 450 to 150 to 400. That is a really big nerf to Nautilus in the bot lane for the reasons that you would be picking him as a bully or as some sort of like a mid-rangey type of support. But in the instances where you're picking Nautilus for purposes just to use his ultimate, you're not really concerned with the 50 damage. You obviously have a much greater purpose for it. So in that regard, Nautilus is going to be completely fine. This does nerf lane Nautilus, such as mid and top lane. And so a little bit surprising to see that they don't try to compensate him anywhere in regards to that. But anyways, Pantheon, a really interesting way that I would have liked to have seen this compensated, rather than just outright nerfed, because I absolutely hate when Riot does this, is do something to the AP ratio for his R, so that if the Nautilus does end up building AP or something, then it can end up being of benefit. So I think that would be completely fine. Pantheon, Q minion damage reduction increased, execute threshold decreased, W increased dash speed from boots removed, okay. No longer walking all over you. Pantheon's dash speed is no longer increased from boots, okay. Comet Spear, minion damage reduction 20% to 30%. This is actually really big, but if you're just playing Pantheon in the jungle, obviously it doesn't really matter. Execute threshold, however, 25% of the target's max health to 20% of the target's maximum health is a massive nerf to Pantheon's mid-game and then also his late game. I don't think that, again, it's the reasons that you would be picking Pantheon. I think that mostly pertains to his E, his map presence, and just basically his ability to be obnoxious inside of the laning phase, which I do think that these things do touch on. I'm one of the people that think that, if you've been watching Worlds, you've probably noticed Pantheon is 100% pick ban, and basically no teams are letting him through. I don't think he's deserving of absolutely never being let through. In fact, I would wager money that most teams that are banning him probably don't even know why they're actually banning him. They might just be following the trend from what teams have been doing all throughout the tournament without bothering to try to actually research if the ban is worthy or necessary. And I know that I've had this talk with some of the World's players that why not try to experiment inside of scrims and find ways, because Pantheon has an extremely forceful theme to his kit, even though he's able to be flexed essentially in 4 roles and do quite a lot. So I don't think he's that overpowered like people are perceiving. And I think that obviously these nerfs help to an extent. Sejuani, no one cares about you, okay? God, just be gone. I don't think anyone has fun when you exist. Like, I don't think the winning team has fun. I think the junglers that had to play you and win felt bad when they were doing it. And I think that the junglers that got to bash on you, it was like a siege tank killing a dragoon. And when, like, the blue ooze would just come out in StarCraft 1, everyone just sort of felt good. I don't think anyone really cares about you. When Thanos did the snap and you disappeared, people rejoiced. Okay? It was a celebration. It was Celebration Nation. Anyways, base stats 64 to 66, health regen growth 0.85 to 1, attack speed growth 3% to 3.5%, Arctic Assault 80 to 240 plus 0.4 ability power to 80 to 280 plus 0. Like, where do they get these numbers? This is the weirdest thing ever. Now, obviously, Sejuani isn't going to be building any ability power unless you're a complete psychopath that's been playing her in top lane or something with, like, Proto Belt. But anyways, E-Permafrost properly resets its debuff duration when reapplying at max stacks. So these buffs are not going to magically make her be mainstream again. I already think that when she was mainstream and everyone was picking her, especially in Korea, plus, trust me, I had to cast the game, so I dreaded it. I don't think that she was good. I really never think she was good. And if we can never gravitate back towards some sort of a really warped idea of like Sejuani, Skarner, Olaf being somehow the jungle meta, that'd be fucking great. Thank you. Silas, base health regen and magic resistance increased, health regen growth decreased, W cost decreased. Okay, health regen 7 to 9, health regen growth is down, whatever. Magic resistance 3.61 to 39. Well, if I've learned anything from Rise, I guess this guy's just S tier now in most people's minds. But no, W Kingslayer 50 to 70 mana to 40 to 60 mana. These changes don't magically make Silas come back by any means, but he has definitely disappeared from the face of the earth. So I think he'll need a little bit more love, but maybe there's indirect buffs that he can end up getting inside of preseason. Thresh Ewith change on base and all skins. I think there's a lot of people that wish they could just change it up, huh? Anyways. Ziya, W bonus attack speed decrease. Nerfing Ziya's hyper carry DPS potential. Bonus attack speed 40% to 70% to 35% to 55%. Excellent. Ziya, same thing as Caixa, basically. Ziya, definitely a little bit more oppressive than Caixa and does fit better against a wider range of team compositions, and so for that extent, I think it's a little bit more justified. But if you've been watching my patch notes for the last couple of years, you know that I always want to just see buffs for the champions that aren't getting picked, rather than just seeing power champions get nerfed down, even if it does eventually mean that some players just start experimenting. The problem is when you don't nerf what's actually making the champion powerful, they will continue to be picked. So, anyways, bug fixes. No one cares. All right, great. So, maybe, hold on. Maybe there's a big bug fix here. Twitch chat's freaking out. If our target dies before Caitlyn's energized via items like rapid fire and static, passive headshot hits them, Caitlyn will no longer be damaged in the... Oh, okay. I didn't even know that was... Second, our Call of the Forge God activation now properly knocks up enemies close to it. This bug cost me so many games. Not really. Gangplank Power Countdown now properly trigger Teemo's Noxious Trap. What? Okay. Urgent Strike now properly breaks spell shields. Okay. Destiny will no longer block projectiles like turrets or dragon stacks if it is interrupted. Okay. If target casts R Cosmic Radiance and dies during the cast window, the cooldown will now reflect the proper time and not reflect his W Bastion cooldown. What? Now properly and consistently works when enemy champions die during the cast and dash of it. Okay, cool. Let's get to what you guys are really all here for, which is the skin review. Okay. So, welcome to the fashion show. I don't really know how to feel about this. Like, this skin just doesn't say anything to me. It actually really just doesn't say anything to me. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I know that this is Yasuo, right? Yeah, it's Yasuo, but I feel like this guy looks like he just got out of a mental hospital, and for some reason, he stole Akuma's neck beads and wears them as a wrist brace. Or I don't know what's going on. This is too edgy for me. Okay, I have no idea what it is that I'm looking at. Okay, true damage Akali. So you know, I mean, we gotta sell. We gotta make the big bucks. Not really quite sure what is going on here. It's not a skin that I like aesthetically. It does remind me of Sonya Blade. I don't know why I'm coming out with all these Mortal Kombat references lately, but yeah. Echo. This gives me a Ready Player One vibe, if anyone remembers that movie. I don't know why this gives me a Ready Player One vibe, but it really does give me a Ready Player One. True Damage Kiana does look pretty interesting. She only has 3 of the stones, so you can definitely stop her before it's too late. Personally, not a very big fan of these pants right here. I don't think that they actually look all that appealing. You know, the cotton candy hair, it's not really doing it for me. It is making me a little bit hungry. So, you know, I'm just throwing that out there. True Damage Senna. Wait, so this isn't her base skin? Oh, this is her... Oh, okay. I get it. Okay. I have no idea what I'm looking at. All right, True Damage Kiana. This is the Louis Vuitton edition. And I actually really wish that there would be more of a way to tell that it's the Louis Vuitton edition rather than just, you know, rely on, like, the logos with her circle thingy-majiggy. I do think that she looks a lot better in this skin than the original skin. And so also remember that when you purchase the Prestige Edition, it's about letting your opponents know. That's the real reason that you get these skins, okay? $100, you load into the Rift, the opponent knows that you spent $100. When you're beating them, they'll say, at least I didn't spend $100 on a stupid skin, and then you reply to them... I actually don't know what you reply to them at that point. But anyways, the Prestige Edition is just, you need to do it, okay? This is coming from a guy that used to foil out his deck in trading card games, all right? Because it's about letting the opponents know. All right, so let's recap really quick. Competitively, Senna is potentially busted, broken. Finally, we might have a really nice release. It's been a while since that. I mean, I guess you can say Kiana, but personally not a fan. The Ashe cost, I mean, you know what I think when I see stuff like this. Now, Ashe, she's on my tier list, and if you don't know about the tier list, you can get it by going on to Patreon, okay? Solo Q tier list updated every 2 weeks, okay, to help you climb the ladder. But if you're struggling to climb the ladder, you're bronze, silver, or you're iron. I'm not judging, but Annie will carry you to gold so that you can get those end of season rewards, okay? Pucker up for that, you know. So, Volley. Now, why is it getting 20 mana, just randomly? Why? I have no idea. Someone lost to this in silver. Someone just got Ashe spammed in silver or something. There was like a duo that just queued up as Ashe and Xerath or something and just kept spamming abilities with Comet. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I really don't know. I have no idea. Like, how does this just come out of nowhere? What is this based on? Like, these are things I would love an explanation for. This is not an explanation, okay? I'm going to say that this is not an explanation the same way that Reddit says me and Nemesis going over 4 hours of odds is not an explanation. This is not an explanation. I do not accept this, okay? We are nerfing Ashe's early game harass so she feels a little more compelled to capitalize on the slow rather than throwing it out mostly for harass damage. All right, fantastic. Blitzcrank, again, doesn't really change anything. Ivern doesn't change anything. Caixa doesn't change anything. Callista, I do hope that it does promote some Callista play in spots where Callista is applicable. Kayle, it's just going to basically make it so if the Kayle player is better than you, all that is going to happen is she's going to have a harder time solo killing you. But it doesn't really change Kayle outside of that too much. Malphite, lots of tears are shed for this. Nautilus, obviously, is the biggest hit of the patch, unless you account for Pantheon's change. But Pantheon's change, I think, again, he's still picked for more utility and what his role ends up filling inside of the flex phases and stuff, especially in competitive. Sejuani, no one cares. Silas, no one cares. Thresh, no one cares. Ziya doesn't attack what is making her good, so ultimately doesn't really matter. All in all, this isn't a patch that really offers all that much. The skins are the best thing in the patch. Make sure that you get the Prestige Edition. Oh, Chromas. There's something about his posture that, I don't know. It feels very weird. True damage Senna. That is a big gun. This is like Michonne looking for Rick Grimes. She has a big fucking cannon. That is like... Oh my god. Negan from The Walking Dead has Lucille, and Senna is looking for Lucien. You get it? So it's... Haha.